see Barbecue Seth in the chat right now.
Dude, and it's like, I'm so sorry, but there's no world in which we're not starting with Green Bay. There's no world.
Did you put NFC North first because of this storyline, or is it just?
I originally was gonna do it because I wanted to write AFC West, and I was like, no, we'll start with the Lions, and then I was like, all right, who's in the NFC North? Oh, Green Bay. We're starting with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. So, just to recap, the Green Bay Packers, who have a few years left of Aaron Rodgers, heaven before needing to find a new franchise quarterback. And you'd think that with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, they would invest in the success of that quarterback and the team around that quarterback with, say, a wide receiver who can catch the balls that quarterback throws.
Yeah.
That might be in, a historically deep wide receiver class. Some might say that would be a good strategy. But instead, they trade up in the first round to draft his supposed successor, Jordan Love, a big-armed project quarterback out of Utah State. And nobody was happy about it, other than people who want to watch the Packers fail.
Dude, it's like, is Aaron Rodgers miserable to work with? He must be miserable to work with. That is the only reason that this makes any sense. Because it's like, this draft was so not worried about succeeding with Aaron Rodgers. This draft was so clearly like, screw it, we're done with it. Like, we're moving on. Like, well, if we win with him in the next 2 years, great. But that's not the goal. That's not the only goal. We're looking at 3 years from now. Because there's like, I've been pretty vocal about, like, I'm pro best player available, right. Like, for the most part, like, the draft, the best thing you can have is the best players possible. That's better than like patching a hole with an okay player. But right. Like, the only time I'm maybe not pro best player available is like if you have a Hall of Fame QB with 3-ish years left in him and a roster that was just in the NFC Championship game and is like maybe a weapon or two away from competing for the Super Bowl. Like, that is the one time where it's like, I don't know, maybe like draft the best player at the position you need. Like, that's a reasonable time to do this. And it's like, they didn't just trade up for Jordan Love, which like is crazy. Trading up for Jordan Love is crazy. And people were like, when people were like, holy shit, it's the same thing. Like, Aaron Rodgers just got Aaron Rodgers. It's like, no, Aaron Rodgers was possibly the number one pick who happened to fall to Green Bay. Jordan Love isn't even that good of a project QB. Like, Jordan Love is like, he doesn't have the upside of these other projects. He doesn't have Josh Allen upside. He's not. Anyone who thinks this guy's going to be Patrick Mahomes is fully kidding themselves. Like, it's like Patrick Mahomes was like, would make bad throws in college because he was trying to put the whole team on his back. But like, it was like, he was like really trying to like rifle it through a tight window. It's like Jordan Love just has straight up bonkers bad throws that you're like, why in a million years would you make that?
And like, most of the guys with draft profiles like Patrick Mahomes will not turn into Patrick Mahomes. Yes. Even if you draw a bunch of similarities between their tapes, which, like you said, like, there's a reason Patrick Mahomes went as high as he did and a reason Jordan Love went as low as he did. Like, it's just, it doesn't seem wise to me. He doesn't seem like a great quarterback. Like, if it's like Tua and his injury concerns, if that caused him to drop to 25 and it's like legitimately a franchise QB, like one of the top guys, go get him. But like, this is a player that multiple teams passed on, including the Raiders, who could easily use one of their picks for him.
Right. And it's like, it's a player who I just think like 1 out of 5 times he works out. I think 4 out of 5 versions of reality, he does not work out,
Yeah. Okay, Barbecue Seth says, I would say the Love pick is better than the Hurts pick.
Hard disagree.
Hard disagree.
We'll get to the Hurts pick, but that is no, actually, we'll get to it now. Hurts, the Eagles won a Super Bowl because they had a competent backup. Hurts is a competent backup. I would say Love is not as competent of a QB as Hurts. Like, you watch the tape on both, there is a reason that Hurts went from Bama to like Oklahoma, and there's a reason that Love got trapped at Utah State. Like he is not. They're not the same level of talent. I think. Go
ahead.
I think Jordan Love has like slightly more arm talent, but like doesn't use it wisely. So like, does he? And it's like, I think Hurts is like, I think they are probably going to use him somewhat like Taysom Hill and as a backup plan for if Carson Wentz gets injured in week 15 every year, you know?
Yeah. Hey, what up, Ender is seeing in the chat saying this is cool. I'm feeling this show.
Yeah, what up, man?
Feeling the positive vibes you're putting into the chat.
So, yeah, hey. Thank you, dog. Much appreciated.
So yeah, we're talking about the Green Bay Packers drafting Jordan Love vis-a-vis the Philadelphia Eagles drafting Jalen Hurts. My argument for this does not rely on an argument over which player is the better player. The Packers traded up and used a first-round pick to draft their backup quarterback. The Eagles used a late second-round pick to draft their quarterback.
And
if you waste the 25 overall pick, it is worse than wasting the 50th overall pick, assuming that both of these picks. Yes, clearly a disaster. Ender Asin getting in here with our back. What's the plan? That's what I want to know. What's the plan? So your plan is we better cut these last few years of Aaron Rodgers short just to have a smooth transition after? It's like, no. You could have 3, 4, 5 more years of Aaron Rodgers if all goes well. So get a wide receiver now who will be on your team on a cheap rookie deal for those 3, 4, 5 years of Aaron Rodgers.
Barbecue Seth says this draft gave me gout. I'm so sorry. Barbecue Seth, we don't have kind things to say about your team's draft. This will not be... I want to be clear that like I am almost 100% against the Packers draft.
Here's my favorite thing. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you do your thing. Go.
Here's my favorite thing about the Packers draft. Okay, if you look at offensive players they drafted a quarterback, running back, tight end, guard, center, and tackle. No wide receiver.
Yes.
They hit every other position on offense except the one that everyone was like, man, seems like they should get one of those in this extremely historically deep wide receiver class. If they just stood pat at 30 and drafted T. Higgins, no one would complain. They'd be fine.
They'd be great. They would have had a good draft.
Because T. Higgins went 3 picks later. So
it's like they're putting it's like they have a lot of faith in like Equanimous St. Brown and like Valdez Scantling. That's like, and Lazard.
Let's get back on track with the NFC North here. We already kind of crapped all over the Packers as much as we have felt like it. Barbecue Seth, if you have anything else to say about the Packers, let us know.
But real quick, he did say earlier, he said he understands the QB pick, but not the trade or any pick until round 5. Yeah. I agree. I kind of understand the QB pick. I definitely don't understand the trade. I agree. Overall, one quick thing on them, is that my judgment of this changes completely if they trade Aaron Rodgers for like 3 firsts. Then it's like if they're just like, fuck it, we're tired of working with Aaron Rodgers, which I gotta be honest, seems like it might be the case because they gave him no help and seem to be planning for a future without him. If they're just like giving up on working with him and they trade him away for a solid ransom, then I'm kind of on board. Then I'm like, great, you decided he wasn't your guy anymore. You're rebuilding, and you probably did it pretty ruthlessly efficiently because you were like, all right, well then, because this changes a little bit if they're like, all right, like the second round running back is still sort of a swing and a miss. But in general, the idea of they're like, we thought those were the best players available. We took them and we treated it like we didn't have an NFC championship game roster. We're treated like we're rebuilding. We're getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and reloading. Then I may be on board. But until that happens, this was a bad draft and I am upset with it.
There are lots of adjectives that you can use to describe picks, safe, risky, exciting, reach, unexpected. Usually one of them is not spiteful, and this one seems straight up spiteful. Barbecue says Packers still will win the North. Yes, because this draft didn't make their team any worse, and they're still the best team in the NFC North. It just seems to me that they are still going to lose their first or second playoff game. Whereas a player like T. Higgins could slot in and make them much better right away. And the team, so the word that I heard from their like GM and stuff was they were like, we wanted to draft a wide receiver, but the guys we wanted to draft were off the board, so we couldn't, basically. So it's, to me, it's an indictment that if you have the 52nd overall pick and you are looking at a draft class of like 12 wide receivers that you want, and they all come off the board, and one of them is like, and you have already used a pick and you think you can get it with that second pick and it doesn't happen, like, that's an indictment that your board was bad. You didn't have the right value. You moved up for one guy. You should have moved up for a wide receiver, or you should have stood pat and taken a receiver then. Like, you didn't get the guy you wanted to get, and that's bad.
Yeah.
For you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Devin Duvernay is still there at 62. You're telling me Devin Duvernay is not a better pick than AJ Dillon? Like, I think Devin.
Yeah, and
I think Devin Duvernay. He went in the third.
Yeah, you're right. At the end of the third round. Yeah.
Yeah, like Devin Duvernay.
He's a guy I like.
I have a sneaky suspicion he might lead rookies. Like, there's like a chance he leads rookies in receiving yards. Like,
he could be like
he's just like
Cup type.
Yeah. Where he just like shows up and everyone's like, wait, why is he good? There were all these other wide receivers we thought were going to be good. And it's like, well.
Especially as like a speedy slot receiver on the Baltimore Ravens. Like, yeah, get him the ball. Let him run around. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Packers, I guess.
Yeah.
So